Yo, Grand Rising, everybody. How you doing? Welcome to the live today on this Sunday. Got to put the microphone in for ticket talk. Going live, gonna give people about 5 minutes or so to get on to the live chat. Get y'all squared away over there. All right. Let's get this thing started. Welcome. Hot out here today. I don't get paid by them, so don't buy that just because I'm drinking it. So we're gonna, if you've seen the Netflix show documentary, tell them I love you. That's what we're talking about today. Appreciate that, Walter. Thanks for the roses. Need some of those around this yard. Need some roses. But the Netflix documentary. So if you've seen it, let me know if you've seen the Netflix documentary. Tell them I love you. Uh, it's a documentary it's about, it's dealing with race, it's dealing with love, it's dealing with sex, it's dealing with control, it's dealing with government. It's a whole bunch that this thing deals with. But I've seen people get polarized in this conversation concerning this documentary. People have really become polarized with it. And we're going to explore some of that today. So if you've seen it, let me know. Know what it's about. So why all of a sudden the fly want to come over here and bother me? Give me about 2 minutes. What was that? Practical care. Give me about 2 minutes. I usually like to give people 5 minutes to get on board, and then I'm gonna go over what it was about, so that people will know. Uh, that way, I only have to explain it one time. One time. Now, for TikTok's sake, when I pull my cigar, I got to lean to the side. So it's a cigar, TikTok, but they like to nullify my lives because of that. But I want to welcome everybody here. I know normally this is a Christian deconstruction channel, but sometimes we do talk about other subject matters. Today we're going to talk about this subject matter. There is a part that religion does play into this, and I think the psychosis of religion also hampered the effects of what was going on in this whole situation. But you know, when we talk about this, all sides of the party, I think, has some negativity that have some fault to have some blame, have some things they did wrong. Um, all parties has something wrong. You know, I only watch Coach Ren's team. Great seeing you, Valentino. So we're streaming on TikTok up here. We got Facebook and YouTube down here. So if you see me say stuff to other people, that's where we at. So we got three groups of people, three platforms that we're discussing this. So if you've seen the Netflix documentary, tell them I love you. Let me know. I posted 3 days ago that we was gonna talk about this today. So you had plenty of time if you've seen that. You had plenty of time. Jason said it was a great documentary. Let me move this over a little bit. Jason said it was a great documentary. I'm gonna tell you, me and Angelina, we were sitting out here on the porch. We had the outside TV out here, and I I, I went through a range of emotions. Angelina went through a whole bunch of ranges of emotions. Just went to bed angry. You know how they tell you never go to bed angry? She went to bed angry. Yeah, yeah. Was that a leaf? We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that. Giving bruh medication. So before we get started in it, let me go ahead and tell you guys some of I did walk into this show with one bias. I only had one bias, and I really felt like this show is a good test of, because of the comments that happened after. Wow, all these flies. Because of many of the commentary, this is a good test of whether or not you are elevated in your consciousness, whether you still see the world through race, through gender, through nationalities. You know, what are you, how are you still seeing the world, right? This documentary and people's responses really give a great indication on how you perceive the world. And many people perceive the world, many of the comments that I've seen where other people were discussing this, the world is perceived through race. Other people, the world is perceived through religion. Other people, the world is perceived through gender. But the perception that people are having is, very, very interesting. Uh, but I can see where people claim certain higher consciousness. No, no, not when the only thing they can see is race. You are not claiming a high consciousness when you immediately jump to race. Thank you, dear. Got my coffee out here. For some reason, flies are bothering me. So, so my only preconceived bias that I had going into it is the fact that have a I personally have a nephew who is autistic, nonverbal autistic, nonverbal autism. So, of course, I would love. I'm 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 champion this normal medical process rather. So that was my only bias coming into it. I wasn't biased towards anything else other than having a nonverbal nephew with autism. So any methodology, he's 30 years old now. So any methodology that would allow him to speak or communicate beyond the noises that he makes. I mean, I've seen him do things that everybody else was like he shouldn't be able to do. Like when he was a kid, I bought him a remote control car, and they was like he's never going to be able to do it. But 15 minutes later, he driving that thing like a champ. So I'm all for. Thank you for the rose. I'm all for outside of the establishment medical treatments. So that was my only bias coming into this movie, into this documentary. So uh, for those of you who don't know, who haven't seen it, I'm gonna give you a rundown uh, of this whole of the documentary, right? So the situation actually started, I think it was 2010, 2011, somewhere around in that time frame. And it first gives you the understanding of who this lady Anna Stubblefield is, where she picked up from her mother the love for helping people with disabilities who could not speak, um, and helping them to speak. And in her research and her study, they developed a technique of utilizing assisting people like just by holding them under the elbow. And so because their movements wouldn't allow them to punch a keyboard or to pick a picture, but just by giving that little bit of support there to stabilize them, it allows them to be able to communicate by utilizing a keyboard or touching letters on a spread, right? You teach them ASL, the hand movements. See, this is when people have like they can't really control their hand movements as much. They have those type of issues. So the guy D-Man, he had cerebral palsy, so his hand movements, aren't controllable enough for himself within himself. So Anna Stubblefield, she's a professor. She's teaching. She's a professor at Rutgers. She's teaching on this alternative for people who got issues of communication, nonverbal, cerebral palsy, uh, and so on and so forth. And this gentleman, I forgot his name. It was D-Man. They kept calling him D-Man. Derek Johnson, who was born with cerebral palsy. His mother, he was being raised by his mother, and he had an older brother. Forgot the older brother name. Angelina still got her emotions. She had an older brother. The older, I forgot his name, but you had a very, and I'm gonna give you a little background on everybody. So D Man has cerebral palsy. He can't verbally communicate. Uh, there were times where it seems like things were going well, but then most of the time it was going bad. John, thank you, Kendra. See, I can always count on y'all. The older brother name is John. John was the older brother. John, normal, going to school, went and got his bachelor's, went and got his master's, still got things. Went and got his PhD, the whole deal. Uh, Very mother centric. And the reason why I believe he's very mother centric is because their father left them after Derek was born. Now, the mother blames and says that it was because Derek was born with his issues. That's why he left. But the mother, I ain't buying that 100%. The mother was displaying a classic behavior of utilizing her children as a replacement for the fact that her husband left. And with Derek's cerebral palsy, or D Man, as he said he liked to be called, well, he didn't say it, but as D Man liked to be called, as Derek liked to be called D Man, D Man was definitely the one that would always be there forever. You know, she would have to take care of him forever. And the way that she would take care of him, it was very mothering. And honestly, I read body language a lot. And just from the very beginning, her body language towards Derek, I did not like. I've seen that before. I've seen it where a family member displays body language of almost irritation and disdain because they are dealing with a special needs child. Right. So that was very evident to me right off the bat with the mom. Thank you. Now, I do think that she wanted the best for her son, but she was more interested in wanting the best for her than the best for her son. Now, Kendra, you jumping the gun. You jumping the gun, Kendra. All right, I'm glad TikTok people can't see what Kendra said. All right. Yeah, John was the brother. Um, if you weren't there, you are assuming. Um, Not necessarily. There is very skilled. I am very skilled at reading body language and analyzing people. I was trained by the government to be able to do that. So just because a person wasn't there, it is not always assumptions. And then those assumptions are going to be, they were validated within the process of the show. So you might want to listen first before you start making those kind of comments, are crooks. But anyway, so what happens is that John is going to school for his PhD, and he meets Anna Stubblefield. He's sitting in her class. He sees that they demonstrate this young lady who was nonverbal, born, I think she was born with some type of cerebral palsy as well, and or some type of illness. I forgot which one it was, what it was, but this young lady was able to get a bachelor's degree in college and so on and so forth. They showed another lady. She had an issue where you could barely understand what she was saying. I ain't gonna lie, if I wasn't reading the subtext, the subtitles, I wouldn't understand nothing she was saying. But she's an anthropologist now and lives on her own, teaches. So utilizing these other forms of communication, it inspired John to go speak to her concerning his brother, right? So when they went, so she started seeing D-Man, and and here's a very important thing in Anna starting to see D-Man. She asked him what would he like to be called. He said he typed out D-Man. Then the mother confirmed that he was called D-Man by a prior counselor at this other center that Derek goes to. There's no way Anna could have known D-Man. The mother wasn't in the room, and admitted that, yeah, that's what this other counselor used to call him when they was teaching him, helping him to learn how to walk and so on and so forth. So that to me lended a tremendous amount of credibility to their process of non-communicational for non-communicational people. Now there was an agent, and I'm gonna call him an agent. I felt like this guy seemed like an AMA agent. If you don't know the AMA, that's the American Medical Association. He was determined to prove that this process does not work, is false, uh, so on and so forth. He was determined to maintain the status quo. He tested some people, but in no way did he. It seemed like he purposely tested people who wasn't doing it right. Anna always just held Derek by the elbow, underneath, right? He was testing people who was using guidance but holding them by the hand. Which by holding them by the hand, I can see how you can easily influence the person to type whatever you as the person is having them type. Underneath the elbow, I can't really you is to direct somebody to pinpoint type something. No. So there was this agent guy. He was determined on making it seem false. Now, I gotta give you a little bit more information before we get to the main part of it. D-Man started going to college. D-Man worked with another young lady who in African American literature in that class, who was and they were typing out essays. D-Man was typing out essays without the girl, actually the young lady who was helping him, had never read the books to which he was typing an essay on, right? So based on your presentation, seems like you received I don't know. Hey. Dude, I watched the whole damn. It's a documentary that we watched. What the hell are you talking about? TikTok. Anyway, this is why I don't like humans sometimes. But anyway, um, so Derek D-Man was able to produce essays with a young lady who had never read the books. So he was showing a lot of progress in this type of assistance for nonverbal communication people, right? A lot of progress. And TikTok is that stupid. A lot of progress. As soon as you got on it, I know. Uh, it only does this when I'm going live. So he's showing a lot of progress. Now, as it goes on, Anna starts spending a lot more time with D-Man. To the point where Anna tells D-Man that she loves him. D-Man tells her that he loves her. Initially, I was hoping that it just stayed right there. But no, it wasn't hey, Kendra, I love you. Or Mamie, I love you. Texas, I love you. Yeah, I love you. Trauma, I even love you. It didn't stay like right there. No, it became intimate. It became intimate, and there was a lot of things leading up before the intimacy happened. They was it was feeling more awkward. The brother was talking about how things start feeling more awkward around, when they was all together. Uh, they was the Anna was starting to be more boisterous on telling the mother that you're babying him, that he's a man, and you need to basically give him some space, let him be a man and stop babying him. Let him do things because he can do things uh, on his own. So there we go. So he was, there was this tension that was TikTok be fading out on me sometimes. There was this tension. Let me take it off the house Wi-Fi because maybe that's the problem with this thing. So there was this tension that was constantly growing between the family, the brother and the mother, and Anna. And it was because Anna and D Man were claiming that they were in love with each other. Anna and D Man had sex and they wanted to be together. Anna was married to another man, but things were supposedly rocky and weren't going well. Uh, I'm going to go ahead and say right off the bat, on a professional level, Anna was wrong as hell, right? Very wrong. You say, Ernest, you're saying that's what she called him. Are you saying that D Man is just what Anna called him? Because if you remember in the show, Derek, when it was like a part where she called him Derek, he was a little agitated, and she asked, "What would you like to be called?" He typed out D Man. Then his mother came in and confirmed that a previous counselor kept calling him D Man. So it wasn't what she preferred. That's what he told her based on a previous experience before she ever came around, which was confirmed by his mother. But yes, and she was married, she had kids, so she had a whole family. And then they got to a point where they did a little sneaky leak and they had sex. Now this is where some of the confusion and arguments come from. Not confusion, but arguments. And somebody just put it perfectly. Texas put it perfectly. Did she have sex with him or he has sex with her? And the final of that, or did they have sex together? Right? Did they have sex together? According to Anna's thing, and here's the thing, everything was typed out on this machine that constantly records everything and doesn't delete anything. And that's very important as we go through this when we get to the court case, because obviously there's a court case involved here. The man was telling her, take off your shirt, take off your bra, take off your clothes, do this, do that. He wanted to fill on them breastises, them titties. So he was basically telling her what to do through this keyboard thing. And, you know, and they had some intercourse. Um, I think personally, I think they had intercourse with each other. They had sex with each other. Right. He asked, Kendra's right. He asked, can I kiss you? And then they kissed, and she's like, do it again. He was like, I want to kiss you again. So this process, because there was elements to the communication that was outside of Anna, and that was confirmed by family members and outside family members, I am of the thought process that D Man was communicating. You're right. But of course, the family finds out about it.
How else you know about sex? Fucking is human nature.
Yeah, sex is. How did he even know anything about
Watch
sex?
TV, hang around people.
All right, so now actually, this is a good question, Ernest. This is a good question, and this is what I realized with my autistic nephew when when he was as I watched him growing up. Malcolm was observant of everything, and I would watch him watch everything and everybody. And so this is why when I would introduce certain things to him, he would easily pick it up functionally. He would easily pick up certain things because he's observing. And I used to always think he got to be going crazy in his own mind because he can't voice out his agency, you know? And then when he was about 16, 17, Malcolm started like any other kid. All of a sudden, it started feeling a little something. Testosterone levels increased because he's about six. He's about 6'3". Testosterone levels started increasing. That is how he got anything to do with that. But just like all most kids, most people at some point have chemical changes in their body and their mind. They start realizing that that's a pleasurable area. So that desire grows in anybody and everybody. It's not just because you look at someone who has some issue that they don't have those basic needs. So he still developed those needs. Uh, Now, his mother tried to claim that he would have never had those needs if they hadn't had sex. Now, I don't know what kind of psychological bullshit that was coming from with her to suggest that he would never have had those needs. And this is what she then put him on medication for because she was like, he masturbates. Now, there is a difference between masturbating and then getting some. You
Okay.
change up some stuff.
You want to talk about him actually.
Hmm?
He had to have control of his head, the mess.
Yeah, and
The mess. How you gonna say that? You gotta say it.
I am Angelina was making the statement at the end of the show about how is he had to have some level of control of his hands in order for him to masturbate. Let's be real. Let's be real. We're gonna talk about it. Let's talk about it. Although his head movement was not as controlled, and Anna was only holding him at the back on the elbow to stabilize so that he only had to function with this, focus on his forearm and his hand. You gotta have some hand control if you masturbate.
I got something.
That's not what we're talking about today, Josh. We're talking about this.
So did he go in his diaper to masturbate?
Right.
Remember they tried to say he wore a diaper.
Right. And so some of the exaggerations that started happening, like his brother started talking about he changed his diaper. He had to change his diaper. So there's no way that his brother could have ever been spelling out those words or typing out those papers. I think he was exaggerating that because he was automatically just jumps to whatever side his mother is going to be on. But is he inside the Angelina just said? Is he because she's trying to stay off camera? Was he going into his diaper to masturbate?
He had to unhook
But
his
the
diaper.
thing about he wasn't wearing a diaper like his whole life, that whole time frame. Um, there are many things that the family did to make him seem more impaired than he really was, but it was only after they found out that Anna and him had sex. Right after that, and that Anna wanted him. That D Man also was saying he wanted to live on his own. That Anna wanted to be his woman. Uh, it was only after that that all of a sudden they start thinking that he didn't accomplish nothing, he didn't do nothing, that uh, he's always going to need to be at home. Right. You can, like Alice said, you can tell the brother was a big mama's boy, complete and utter mama's boy. You know, when I first saw him, I was like, oh, he looked like Michael Joe Howard White. And then had to take it back because I don't want to disrespect Michael Jahad White like that because he was just a big punk. And I think that he also became envious because he's always been the one to achieve. And now your brother's coming up. And then you got the controlling mama who was like, if D Man wanted to move out, he gonna go live in the basement like his brother did when he was getting his undergraduate. So she's demonstrating this controlling behavior that these are her children. They're gonna do whatever she tells them to do. And I honestly think that the major creation of that is because her husband left her. Right. And then you have to think about this.
So unexpected. What's it like?
You guys got to think about this. If D Man were to have left her, the mother doesn't work. If you think about it, the mother doesn't work, wasn't working. So how is she living? She is living off of D Man's disability, living off the disability checks and other programs that you can get for it when you have a child that requires those types of things.
Tell good old Ernest.
Now, Ernest, you have to understand, it wasn't. See,
Ernest didn't watch the show.
I don't think you watched it. You sure you watched it, Ernest? That he wasn't communicating at all. How would he have written those papers with the other little girl who had never read the book? How would he have been able to inform them that he liked to be called D-Man? How was he able to cuss Anna out when she explained the answer, but not the way that he said it? But he cussed her out, you know. And all those things were recorded. So, and it wasn't like he was going to go live on his own. It's a assisted living place for people who just need some levels of help, but they can still have some levels of functionality on their own. Anytime they showed him walking with it was just like a little bit of assistance, except for when the mother brought him into the courtroom. Of course, she walked him in there like he could barely move. Yeah, and she didn't want him to see Anna. She kept blocking Anna. Okay, Ernest is on the side that she assisted in everything that he was saying.
Tell Ernest stop acting like his brother is here's what mama asked.
Hey.
I said it, damn it. I don't usually say much, but I got a lot to say to it.
How did she assist him in what he was saying with the young lady who was typing the essays in the papers? Explain that part. So, Ernest, you would have to explain how she knew to call him D-Man. You would also have, and that a previous counselor was calling him that. And you would also have to explain how did the undergraduate student help him type out those papers for books that she had never read.
She didn't take class.
And here's the rub on that. When Anna first went to court, they didn't allow any of the, what is it called, ASL? I think like whatever what the process is called. They didn't allow for any of those recordings or any of the people involved in that to be able to testify. The first judge didn't. They threw all that. Her testimony. It wasn't until 2 years later that a new judge said that she didn't get a fair trial because they wouldn't allow for that information. Because honestly, if they had allowed for that information, I don't see how a jury would have found when it a jury would not have been able to find her guilty.
Yeah, why didn't they bring the machine in the courtroom?
Because it was part of the thing.
But I'm just saying.
But
the next trial, why didn't?
she didn't have a trial. She had a plea bargain. It was a plea. It was a plea bargain. It wasn't a trial.
I know, but I'm just saying in general. Like, if it was a good judge,
speak up. Speak up. You talking? Speak up.
I was just saying, if it was a good judge, they would have bought the machine in the courtroom, or either in a room with the judge and somebody else, and Derek or D-Man, whatever you want to call him, and let him type, see if he could type. If it was a good judge.
But it was, yeah, but
it wasn't.
That's why I got overturned because
she was full of shit too.
Yeah, the judge who handled the case was full of shit. The first judge, because by not allowing for all information to be utilized, thank you, facilitated communication. Thank you. Nope. Shane. Shay. Thank you. Um, and that's the hard part. See, if it was just Anna doing it, it would have been one thing. But since it was an outside young lady who was helping, who did it as well and showed it, the family never had any problems facilitating D-Man's communication until after they found out that them two was having sex and claiming to be in love. Then all of a sudden, they can't facilitate communication with him, right? All of a sudden, he's not doing anything to the point of the things, to the level of the things he was doing beforehand. They had no complaints until then, which is suspect to me. Now, in the court case, I think the judge was completely wrong, but I think the judge was lining it up. Honestly, I think the AMA had got to the judge personally because, the AMA don't want anything new to happen. Ernest said, forget all of that. She raped that man. I can't 100%, I can't agree with that because I do think that he was communicating. I don't think that facilitated communication works for everyone. Like in the same way that no medication, no medical process is going to work for everyone. But I think in D-Man's case, I think that facilitated communication was working for him. What did Shane say? They brought in an expert who was not in favor of FC. Because of these things, I too believe they may have been some truth to Anna's story. Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. I think Anna was completely wrong for having sex with this young man, for claiming to be, for even if they were in love. You are the professional, the teacher, the whatever you want, the professor. You there's a level, there's a line you don't cross. Messing with your students or the people in your clinical, I'm gonna just use the term clinical trial. You don't mess with them. So she's completely wrong professionally. Criminally, I don't think she was wrong. Professionally, she was wrong. Right? Mm. Right, because the brother said, D man, let's go have some beer. And D man typed, I don't like beer. I like red wine. Exactly. Because one of the things that facilitated communication allows for people to have is agency over self, which is something they are denied because they cannot communicate. I don't think, like I said, I don't think it works for everybody, but in this case, it was working. And it only stopped working when the family got mad. Well, when the mama got mad. When the mama got mad. That's the only time it started working. I can't deal with Angelina. I think the brother was full of shit just like his mama. Yep. Right. Kendra. The brother said that he tried to hold D hand and he couldn't make out what he was saying. Only after years, for years, he never had a problem. He didn't say that in the beginning stages. He didn't say that when before they knew he was having sex. It was only after they weren't having they found out that they had sex that then all of a sudden he came. Logically speaking, if D Man has been going to college and typing out these essays, you would think that the brother who got his PhD would have been utilizing facilitated communication with D Man for all those other years. And if it wasn't working, his doubt, if he wasn't able to do it, his doubt would have happened long before they had sex. Long before they had sex. But his doubt miraculously comes up once he finds out that they've been having sex. I'm suspect of the brother. I think the brother full of shit. Be honest. I think the brother is just a big mama's boy and didn't like what he found out, and now he got problems. Terrence, I'm not even gonna put that up there, Terrence. I'm not put. Oh, I accidentally put what Terrence said. Was D man pulled out the big stick? Stupid. Yes, she definitely broke her professional code. She should have quit her position, and they could have ridden off into the sunset. Yep. Well, I think she should. Once she, once the love started, that communication starts, and it's beyond just a platonic. You going about you just end your affiliation right there. And just because Slaughter Terrence said it, Kendra's right. She did say that he is a man in every sense of the word.
Mama got mad.
And Mama got pissed.
You took my baby dingling.
Now, Ernest, you bring up a good point. Didn't expert testimony say D May had the mindset of a 1 year old? So here's a couple of things. In the process to which that expert was examining D Man, he did not allow for facilitated communication to happen. If you remember, he didn't allow for anybody to hold him by the, just to stabilize his elbow. He just expected D Man to sit there and point out everything. So he didn't have the facilitated communication. He didn't have the keyboard when that guy came and tested him. So the guy set up the test for D Man to fail. Right. And I was peeping that out when he was doing it. I was like, wait a minute, why is there not someone there to demonstrate the type of facilitated communication that D Man is utilizing? Where's the keyboard? That guy was already showing from the frontline investigation that he was already not good at communicating. already had a made up mind about facilitated communication. And honestly, I don't know. This is speculation. He probably worked for the AMA because the AMA just want to give you surgeries and medication. They do not want you to be able to be at home, go to Target, buy you a little communicator thing, and then people just sitting at home and they've been able to do that. I didn't know how much money medicine makes off of non-communicative people until uh, Malcolm got a little older. My nephew who has autism got older. He's non-communicative, and I start seeing how much these schools cost and seeing how much these doctor visits and all these tests cost. They make a lot of money off this. And honestly, I think that the man stopped. Like, I think this is what Angelina is saying. I think he was sitting up there, and when Anna couldn't come over anymore, just like anybody else, if you was in love with somebody or you was friends with, even if you were just friends with somebody, a deep friendship with somebody, and or even this is an outside person who doesn't treat you the same way the mother and the brother were, to take Anna away from him, I think he was just pissed off and like he can't do nothing about getting away from his mother and brother. But it's like I don't want to deal with y'all. I don't want you to help me. I don't even want to talk to you. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if he communicated one time with his brother and was like, "F you."
I mean, he had to know what's going on because he listened to him. His mom
Yeah.
said that.
Yep. The mother said he listened to him and he listened to everything. He pays attention. Um, Sounds like he was protecting funding. Yeah, that's what I think the expert was doing. Expert is just protecting the industry. You gotta when I do a video, when I do a video about Tesla and the American Medical Association, all they are about is protecting the money that the medical association is already making. That's what that they can stop anything, they will. What up, Gabby and Kenya? Actually, we just hung out with a whole bunch of Kenyans, and after we leave this, we're going to hang out with a bunch of Kenyans at the beach. That's why I'm already in my beach well. Yeah, so I'm hanging out with your people, Gabby. We went to a rugby tournament. Was it? Yeah, it was a tournament. Mm-hmm. Anyway, back to the story. Back to the story. Right. The mom did say that he was more angry when they stopped them from seeing each other, and he was, because whatever level of love you want to say it was, he was pissed. Ernest is gonna be on that thing today. He was pissed because she was making him feel good.
In more than one way, not just sex.
In more, yeah. Also making him feel. I mean, you gotta think about it. If you've been babied and smothered and told what to do all the time.
For 31 years, you have not been able to express what you want to say. People have been telling you what you think. You finally get to say how you feel, and then they take it away. I'd say, fuck y'all too.
Mm-hmm. Well, Angelina just said it. Did y'all hear Angelina? She over here being.
Oh, I'm behind.
She's trying to be that off-camera person that say stuff. Notice she ain't never been part of any other video, but she part of this one.
This documentary pissed me off.
Texas said, let me put it up there. Oh. Why these flies are tripping right now? It's like cigar smoke. New deck. We want to touch the new deck. I have a professional counselor's license, and I am forbidden to have sexual relations with my clients. You must wait for 5 years after counseling is over in order to pursue a relationship. Exactly. To me, that is the biggest problem. That's the biggest mistake Anna made. What?
That letter.
Speak up.
The letter from the husband, where everybody is popping this off talking about, yeah, even the husband says she's not good. Husband was pissed off because he left her for some handicap dick.
Did y'all hear Angelina? Let me know if y'all just heard what Angelina said. Hmm. I would love to know how Anna's appeal went. Initially, the movie said race played a part, and I think that may have been directed towards the judge. Yeah, race did play a part because, yeah, I think that is one of the reasons why I think the judge threw everything out. Threw everything out. The things that would have vindicated Anna, other than her, because if the judge wouldn't have thrown out the facilitated communication stuff, Anna would have only lost her license to teach or to counsel. She probably would have lost her job. She would have lost her.
In my opinion, they could have threw that out, but still took old girl testimony.
Threw what out?
They could have threw him the conversation on the communicator out and still used old girl testimony and still would have proved
But
Anna
her
wasn't right.
testimony is the fact that he communicated
No,
on
I'm
the.
just saying though, like you have somebody who's an eyewitness that was there who
Mm-hmm.
experienced him typing, like saying that
Experienced him doing what?
him without Anna though,
But doing what?
without Anna,
But what was he doing?
but without Anna.
It doesn't matter. It's what he was doing. So since they threw out all the facilitated communication, her testimony would not be valid. They wouldn't allow her testimony.
I get that, but I'm just saying, even if they would have brought old girl in for the jury to hear,
Uh,
that probably would have swayed them a little.
that would have swayed them, but they can't. You if that's why that judge was throwing everything out because that judge, I think that judge did not want
She was like,
Anna to. She wanted Anna to go to jail. That's why she gave her max sentence, 12 years, 12 years concurrent. But yeah, race. I think race did play a part of it because of that judge was looking at this white lady with this young black man, the black mother, the single mother, and she fell for her.
and the brother kept playing the
Yeah,
race card too.
and the brother played the race card. Then her husband, her ex-husband, sends in that letter talking about she's a despicable person. She's relentless and will get her whatever she wants. That's just I'm a black man and I lost my white woman to another black man with a disability. And you okay, all my men on here. Y'all know and y'all know in men's circles, if we sitting around at the lounge, at the bar, at the hole in the wall, at the juke joint, and you come walking in and you lost your wife to a disabled man, we gonna dog you out. We gonna talk shit. We gonna make fun of you. We it's wrong, but we gonna talk trash. We gonna be like, God damn, man, your woman left you. She left you,
She won.
cheated on you. Y'all know. So of course he's angry. He want his pound of flesh. So that letter he sent to the judge, and I think the judge knows the reason that man was writing that letter, and she should not have taken that into accountability. She know that that man wrote that letter because he was angry that he lost this woman to a disabled man. I mean, let's not act like ego and pride is not a part of people's psyche, right? But when she did her appeal, it went through. They didn't actually have a court case. The judge just said determined that it was an unfair trial because the facilitated um, communication was not part of it, was not admissible. So the trial wasn't fair; it was one sided. And then they struck a plea deal, and that plea deal got her out of jail immediately. So she only served 2 years. She lost her license to teach. I'm pretty sure part they didn't say, but most likely she's probably on the sex offenders list or something like that. Um, EJ, it is two men in the thumbnail. It's two brothers. It's an older brother and a younger brother. The younger brother has a disability. It is. It tell them I love you. It's the the young man with the disability, and his. I can keep saying this. Facilitated communication specialist had a relationship. So it's. I know you came in a little late. It's all right. All right. Yeah, and the brother, and here's what's funny: the brother said that you're not Sandra Bullock, and this is not The Blind Side. My brother's not a poor black kid that needs saving. You wasn't saying that when you approached Anna to see if she can help your brother learn to communicate. You wasn't saying that when she was traveling from Rutgers to help your brother because it would cost too much money to go to Syracuse, and it was money that you didn't have. So she was initially started doing it out of the goodness of her heart because you couldn't afford to take him to Syracuse to do it. He wasn't saying it then. He wasn't saying it if what was that? So, like I said, the older brother, he full of shit. He's one of them dudes that if I ran up and I saw him, I would just look at him like I want to smack him in the face. Yeah. Now, this is where me and Ernest are going to have some level of agreement. He said that he believed Anna has some mental issues of her own. I'm just saying. Anna said, so one of the things that she said was, and it's a good thing, but to me, it does have its limitations. And that's personal. She said that she fell in love with D Man's brain and the communication and the conversations that they were having. Uh, and when you fall, and she's basically, what's it called? The attraction to another person because they're intelligent, social. I forgot what it's called. But she basically was attracted to him by his intelligence, and that if you love the brain, you love the intelligence, you love the brain, you love the personality, then you love the body that the person is in because that's the body that they have.
Oh no, no.
Let me see.
Sapio.
Sapiosexual. Anna could have been sapiosexual, but the fact that she would risk her career and family and all this stuff, that part is where I'm agree with you. Something wrong with her because I understand sapiosexual, but even in that, there's a limitation. So she, I do think there's something inside of her that's messed up in that aspect of it. But as far as her being mentally ill, no, I don't think she's mentally ill. But
Didn't she say he felt her booty, not I put his hand on my booty?
yeah, he said he felt her chest, that he rubbed up on her breast. Yeah, no, he wasn't. He had somewhat control. That's why she only needed to support him by the elbow and not by the hand. So
Maybe it's a distraction.
and Ernest, okay, well, yeah, we'll take Ernest. He said, "How would you feel if that happened to your disabled child?" That is the now that's a rubber meet the road kind of situation. If I was in that situation, okay, I'm not your average person. Okay, I don't allow my emotions to dictate my output 99% of the time. Um, I'm not going to start switch hitting on a situation. If the facilitated communication was working and I was all for it, just because I found out that they had sex and if I found out they had sex and they had, and my child has been demonstrating college level work, I'm not going to think of my child as a disabled child anymore to the point where they are like a child like mine. Not if you can write papers on African American literature. So although it would be disconcerting a bit, it would be. I'm not going to act like I'm stoned, but I'm not going to automatically jump ship and everything they did was wrong and they lying and my child is the mindset of a 2 year old. I'm not going to do that. What is, bro. Now, please don't write in all caps, EJ. But Um, I also grew up. We had disabled kids in our school growing up through high school. I watched one of them. He wasn't. He was verbal, but I watched him. Become a janitor at the high school once he graduated. I remember he graduated, and the next year he was a janitor at the high school. I knew of a disabled couple who lived on their own. They had what was it when they have an extra chromosome, but they were very intelligent. I mean, they weren't like super intelligent. I ain't gonna say that. They were intelligent enough to be able to hold down a job, take care of their own bills. They had their own apartment, and they were a couple. And many people in our community was pissed that they got married because they didn't want them, the mentality. They didn't want them to procreate, right? But I've seen varying levels of disability, and I've seen people achieve things regardless of that disability, right? Uh, and in this case, I mean, let's be honest. I actually, it wasn't the level of cerebral palsy that D Man had, but I actually dated a girl for about 4 or 5 months, 5 6 months, who had a form of cerebral palsy where just like one of her legs, she couldn't really control it that well, but she could walk, and one of her arms she couldn't control that well. She could walk, but she was very intelligent. She was verbal. She was very pretty, and we dated for like a summer and into high school. Actually, my first homecoming in high school. That's who I went to homecoming with. Because her mother and my mother were friends, and I treated her like anybody else because she was like anybody else. Did that couple procreate? What happened? I don't know. I left Marietta, and I I don't know what happened to them. No, no, they did. They did. Matter of fact, they did. They did, and they had a normal baby. They did procreate, and they had a normal baby. I remember that happened before I graduated high school. Um, See, I took this off the Wi-Fi, and it's still acting stupid. But yeah, they did, and had a normal baby. So it happens. Brenda always say, you haven't watched it. You want to go watch it. Helen Keller's side of things. A person provides a way to communicate and interacting rather than frustrating and anger. She too loved her teacher. Hmm. I don't know much. I don't know much about Helen Keller, to be honest. Just the basic stuff. But it would be normal for a person to fall in love with somebody who now has enabled them to be able to communicate and express themselves. I don't find that D Man falling in love with Anna to be out of the norm. Anna allowing herself to fall in love with D Man, that that's where Anna messed up to me. You never let that relationship blossom and become anything other than teacher student, you know. Never. And that's where she messed up. Why are all these fucking fire out here today?
So, Mama,
I'm sorry, y'all. We got more. It's for some reason there's a heck of a lot more flies flying around today.
water.
No, I got Gatorade. And see, this is what that thing created. Like Ernest, it doesn't matter what said. Ernest is on. Hey, that woman wrong. Everything was wrong. To me, I don't see anybody. The only person in complete innocence in this entire situation is D Man. D Man is the only one who has complete innocence. And this is what I was talking about when I said on the video 3 days ago. To me, this situation tests where you are in your levels of enlightenment. Because if you can look at a situation and all you can see is one side of that situation. Everything is from that one perspective. Then we still got work to do on your enlightenment. We still got a lot of work to do in your enlightenment.
So
Right? You can't control your feelings, but you can control your actions. So if she fell in love, that's fine. But yeah, her actions, no. So like if you can't see where Anna was wrong, but at the same time, I can see where the mother was wrong. I can see where the brother was wrong. I can see where that agent for the AMA was wrong. The judge was wrong. But I can also see where Anna was right, where the mother is right, where the brother is right. The agent, he ain't right at all. Judge wasn't right at all, you know. But if you can only see it from one perspective and all things are shaded by that, then you got to work on your enlightenment. You got to your mind. You ain't consciously there yet.
mom also got mad when she started to feel she would lose a baby. Remember the T-shirt
That
part?
ain't what we talking about, Brenton. Huh?
Remember the T-shirt part when he was typing? She said he said he don't want to put in that T-shirt, and he had typed Y for yes and N for no.
Uh
Her
huh.
mom actually said that, and she was like, "How can you tell me what my baby wants?"
Yeah, and that was the controlling issue of the mother.
Mm-hmm.
The mother was very very controlling,
So she
and
knew the machine was working.
and her mother knew the machine was working because D Man was saying what clothes he wanted to wear, and the mother was like, "Nah, we not you're not wearing that. How you gonna tell me what my baby want to wear?" Um, they were deciding what music that he wanted to listen to when Anna was changing the radio station. Now, passengers shouldn't be changing the radio station, period. But them deciding what kind of music he wants to listen to based on his movement, when the movement is relatively the same type of movement he generally has, you can't base it on that. That's you mad because this woman now has sex with your son or your brother. Right. She was, like Kendra said, she was using the hand movement of the gesture of if he where the gesture where if he swipe her thumb it means no, but she didn't want to hear it. The mother did not want to hear anything that D Man truly wanted that went against what the mother wanted. Right? Yeah, it was the undershirt. That's how he said that he didn't want to wear that undershirt on that day. Yeah. Kendra, how many times you watched this documentary? Kendra on it.
Once like this, probably was mad.
So mad that it's ingrained in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That was maybe we put the coffee cups over there. See if that because these
Relentless.
we having like a fly invasion today for some reason.
Extra hot.
The we had the deck was redone, and so maybe they tripping. They mad at us. Uh, you make so much sense of what many overlook, and that's what you have to do to raise your consciousness. You got to get out of your own way, oftentimes, and get out of your own conditioning. I know most of the time we talk about deconstructing Christianity, but deconstructing is not just from Christianity; it's deconstructing from everything that's been forced in you and be able to see things for what they actually are, not what you want them to be. Oh, just once, but I had so many questions and no one to discuss them with. I'm glad you did this. I can understand that to that degree. I have Angelina, so really that night I had Angry Bird is what I had. I had Angry Bird who was just mad, but most of that anger was directed towards the mother and the brother, sympathy for D Man, and some anger towards Anna. So and I was pretty much in the same boat. Is the and my issues with the mother and the brother is not so much that they disapproved of the relationship. My irritation with them is that Because of that, they will now want to deny D-Man his agency. And maybe some of that is from my bias. I like I said, I walked into it with a bias that facilitated communication. I want to introduce that to my nephew, right? So I want that process to be validated. So I did have that aspect of it. D-Man to me just demonstrated that it might be valid. It works for some kids or for some people. But beyond that, I just saw everything for what it was. You know, Anna shouldn't have been in a relationship with him, but his mother and his brother were controlling and smothering. Well, the mother was controlling and smothering, the brother's just a damn mama's boy. Or as Angeline liked to call him, a jealous, pompous ass. He was arrogant and pompous though, you know. Oh, I got my PhD. And then when you Ernest said this is a good situation to discuss. Yeah. Now, one of the reasons why we had this discussion because was it the next day? Yeah, the next day we saw like a bunch of other people discussing this, and it went down racial lines and gender lines like a champ. Black people was mad at Anna. White people mad at the mama. Mothers were mad at Anna. Single women, single women were vacillating between the two. Um, Mama's boys was on Mama's side. Independently thinking men were, thought through the process. Independently thinking women thought through the process. So it was those color and gender lines that really just, and there was some economic lines too. There was people who lack wealth were talking about how the wealthy just trying to stay wealthy. They always taking advantage of people and so on and so forth. So there were it divided people, and not many people was just looking at it for the whole situation. Kendra said, "True, that divided everyone." Do you think Anna revealed her feelings about D-Man before telling the mother and brother that she had sex with him? Would the response have been different? It probably would have. It probably would. I think that was a mistake that they made. They should have revealed their feelings for each other beforehand, before they had sex, because you can tell the mother was hung up solely on the sex part. That's what she was. I mean, that was her big thing. That she was hung up on the sex part, and yeah, her baby becoming a man. Her baby now, you know, he may have been masturbating beforehand, but now that she knows that he's masturbating or is happening more frequently, and her religious connotations towards that was that she not allowed this evil spirit and shit all of masturbating in her son, and she brought that in. No, you know what? I'm not with you. You're talking about some maybe he calmer now, but yeah, the mother was on one. She was definitely on one, uh, and trying to blame her for that. And I think it's just that fear of losing him. Because if you think about it, the PhD brother, he gone, he living on his own. D-Man is her pseudo husband now. That's She got somebody who's gonna be there, somebody that needs him because her husband left her, and she would have to go through the whole empty nest. She would also go through the financial loss of D-Man's disability if he went and stayed in an assisted living space. Right. So she wouldn't have that connection, even though she could still go and volunteer at the center that help people. She wouldn't have D-Man to take there and truly feel like she's a part of it. Uh, she would have to get a job. So I think she had a lot of things playing in the background that was causing her to think the way she was thinking. And it's not uncommon for people to do that. I know of a lady who took in a friend of the family, an old man who was a friend of their family, and she literally took him in for the disability checks. And then when the man passed away, her first statement was, "How am I going to pay X, Y, and Z bills now?" You know, it wasn't. We got to find his. We got to let the family. We got to get him situated, burials, all that kind of stuff. It was, what am I going to do now to pay for X, Y, and Z? And when I heard that, I was like, wow. I always sort of suspected that's why she took that man in, but that was like the confirmation. So I've seen that behavior myself with people, multiple times, multiple times, in various situations where people don't want to give up a disability check and they'll take in somebody for that disability check. I guess we need a whole new. So you got hobosexuals, right? They get started around October. Cause it get cold, they need a place to stay. Wait, I don't know what you'll call. I need somebody to come in because they disabled. Yeah, a Czechosexual. But I think the mother that was part of what was going on with the mom. She wanted that check was important. I do think, now don't get me wrong, I think she loved her son. I don't think she doesn't love her son. I think she does. But I did not like the way that she spoke to him most of the time. Most of the time when she spoke to him, it was overly aggressive, unnecessarily aggressive. So I did not appreciate how she spoke to D Man, you know. But what makes me leads me into the thinking of, she trying to keep that check, and she's feeling vulnerable, but all her boys leaving her, just like her husband. Yep, I'm gonna put this up there. A Czechos. I know. Now you take her phone away from her.
I'm every time I don't use phone.
Yeah, and Dwayne, you're right. She should have. She should have let her mother and them, the mother and the brother, know about her feelings before they had sex. But she should have shut down any romantic actions once she realized that she felt romantic about him.
She should have told him, "I love you too," more in a friend way,
Yeah. It should have been, "I love you too. You're my friend," and kept it friend level. And when he was like, "Can I kiss you?" she should have been like, "No, we're friends. We don't do that. I don't love you like that." Lie. I don't condone lying. Like I'm one of those people where I'm gonna tell y'all, if you ever get to know me personally, don't ask me questions that you don't want me to answer. And if you don't want the answer to come either way, because I'm gonna tell you the truth all the time. But there are certain times when you should lie. That was one of the times a person should have lied. Yes, she could have been all head over heels in love with his brain, but she should have lied and said, "No, we're just friends. We're colleagues, whatever. We're teacher student, and sometimes emotions can get misconstrued or action." Lie, 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 lie on that. You should always lie. Let me tell you one time that I did lie. So when I graduated high school, uh, and I and so I had turned 18. I graduated high school. I had previously was dating a girl who was 16, and we was in high school together. And we were supposed to go to the prom, but we didn't because her mom was tripping about her got to be home by 10 o'clock, right? But when her mom said that, and I knew I was turning 18, and she would still be 16, I started thinking about the fact that at that time frame I was still just going to go to college and play football. But I was going to go play football, go to the Marine, and I eventually was going to the Marine Corps. And that summer, I literally lied to her and told her that I don't feel the same way about her that she feels about me. The truth of the matter was, I'm turning 18. You're 16. I'm going into the Marine Corps. I'm not coming back to take you to homecoming and prom and I'm in my dress blues. I'm 18, you 16. And then I'm 19, you 17. No, I wasn't going to risk her mama one day getting mad and then charging me with some stuff. It didn't matter how I cared, how I felt about that at that time frame. Whether you want to call it puppy love or infatuation, whatever. I straight lied. I don't like you like that. That's how you should be. And there are certain situations where lying is good. Because who knows I, what could have happened with her mother and getting mad or something. Angelina. But what was so, Kendra said, so what was so weak in her mind where she couldn't and didn't want to lie? She allowed that to happen like she wanted it more than he did. That's where I feel like she was struggling mentally, maybe. Yeah, and I agree with that. Like, how bad is your marriage to your physically able husband? You got two children. How bad is that marriage that you would pursue and allow this to happen? That's that's where I look at Anna and I'm like, what is your problem? What is wrong with you? I know you like black men because her ex-husband was a brother too. So I know you like the black men. I get it. But what the hell? Look, and me and Angelina was having this conversation yesterday. And within the conversation, I expressed when a woman mess with my money, she gotta go. You gotta go. You mess with my business, because you all emotional and doing dumb shit and you messing with my business, you gotta go. I don't care how I feel about you. You gotta go. You can't mess up the money. Because when you mess up the money, you messing up where you live, how you live. You messing up some of your joy. You messing up your ability to have certain levels of health care. You just messing up too much. All right, you can't mess up the money. Like I was asking Angela qualifying questions when we first started talking. Like that would like are you, to find out is she the kind of person that's gonna mess up the money? You can't mess up the money. Not that I'm so in love with money, but it's what money does for you. What money, unless you go live on some land, which you gotta have some money, dig a well, which you gotta have some money, have your solar power, wind power, which you gotta have some money, do some farming and some cattle raising or animal raising, whatever you're doing, which you gotta have some money. Unless we live in way completely off the grid where we need very little money, don't mess up the money. The ability to bring in, to do that. Now look at what Anna got to do. That's probably her mama house that she moved back into. I'm sure she moved back in with her mom, her parents. I don't know. They never showed her dad, so I'm sure she moved back in with her mom. And now she couldn't even work as a waitress. You know what I mean? So she had to get a job where she can work at home, so nobody knows who she is. Type situation. And she went from making college professor money to waitressing. No, that. Mm-mm. And y'all, I ain't gonna lie to you, I'm a little bougie. I'm a little bit bougie. I like certain things. I mess up the money. So something wrong with Anna that she was willing to mess up the money like that. He's a money osexual, whatever. I'm just saying. Like, let's say Angelina was one of those people who like clingy as hell and you can't breathe. I'm like, girl, I gotta get out here and make some money. Stop, get out, get. Even though we semi-retired, come on now. I gotta go do some things. You know, if it had been, this is Brandy, if it had been a nursing home situation, she would have been fired and charged with sexual assault charges, lifetime registry, definitely a news broadcast, and not a documentary. I know. I'm sure this made the news in New Jersey because that was in New Jersey, right? Yeah, it was.
Sure.
It was in New Jersey. I'm sure it
Yeah,
made the
Essex
news in New
County.
Jersey, in Essex County. I never heard of it until this documentary, uh, but I'm sure it made the news. But yeah, if this was in like a nursing home, you're absolutely right. They will be charged with that. Uh,
That's
As a
crazy.
matter of fact, this type of thing does happen in nursing homes. Uh, My pappy used to tell me that these kind of things used to happen in nursing homes because he had little nurses who used to try to come in. He had nurses and people who lived there that was trying to get with him. So it does happen in nursing homes, and they would be charged. I don't think the punishment would have been severe, nor should it have been more as severe if they would allow the facilitated communication information to come into play, which is why she got in 2 years she was out of jail. Dwayne's stupid. Whether she moved back home with her mom or not, she got a nice. I can't. I can't with y'all.
One in every group.
I can't with y'all. I can't. Uh, Pillarman, because I'm not calling you baby. I'm sorry. As a man, I can't call another man that. No disrespect. But yeah, the math. I'm with the facilitated community. I just think she messed up professionally. I think that D man deserves love. He deserves intimacy. He deserves to be heard and independent, but not with her. She cannot be that person.
No, he was going to a home.
Said I have. Yeah, he was going to go into a home. Yeah, I have half a mind to think that she was going to make herself his care provider and also his rep payee for the checks once he moved in with away from home. Well, initially he was going to go into an assisted living home. Now I do think the long term plan would have been for Anna and him to be under one roof, and she would have got that check. True, but she didn't need his check, and not that that matters because some people there's never enough money. But um, for her lifestyle, she didn't necessarily need his check. So,
He probably been better learn to do stuff for himself.
but he would have been, yeah, I do think he would have been better off as far as his life because he would have been able to do things for himself. Um, Definitely, you would have to have the brother and the mother and Anna checking in, come in quite often, make sure nobody's there to take advantage of him. Because let me tell you guys something: if you do have someone who is in any kind of assisted living home or nursing home, and they are you got to check on them. One of the things I hate when anytime we go see my mom and I see some of those, she's in an assisted living condominium, and some of those people, some of those older elderly people there, they're not as functional as my mom. My mom can do she this lady can go live wherever she want to live. Truthfully, we just wanted her to be there just in case something happens. But you got to check on those people. You got to make sure. Like when my pappy was in one, every week I was over there giving him a haircut, talking to him. He was still all the way in his right mind, but just to make sure, because there are some horror stories. You know, you definitely would have needed to make sure that 3, 4, or 5 times a week somebody's showing up, because they don't mess with the people who they know got folks who show up. So you got somebody in that situation, y'all need to show up. Definitely show up
But
constantly.
most times they're lonely because they family drop them off
Yeah,
there and just
yeah, and they are. Oh, when I used to, you can see when somebody comes in there. When we go in there as adults, all them other elderly people be looking at us like and talking to us, and because they lonely, they lonely. And anytime somebody brings some kids, it's like they the grandkids for all the people in the building, everybody in the building, because they lonely. So definitely check on your folks if you got anybody in there. Coffee talk. Yep, this coffee talk. Of course, there's never enough money. My kids talking about extra money. I'm over here like you. I ain't no millionaire. No such thing as extra money. If you're, and so is that true? There's no such thing as extra money in a budget. Money got somewhere to go. It's doing something in every budget. We can make $1 million, and ooh, sorry, damn fly got right on my ankle bone. Yeah. But it got somewhere to go. We could win the lottery right now. All that 91 million the mega got, it got somewhere to go. Got plans for it. But yeah, there. Anna still could have wanted some money, but I genuinely think that this woman, in some aspect of her mind, she thought that she was in love with D Man. Right? I think she was telling the truth about that. That she believes that she was in love with him. And the way she was actually looking and talking, I think she still got some feelings for him. You know, but she just now recognized that it can never be. You know, because she was like, but of course, the mom and the brother won't. The mom won't let me see him and all this kind of stuff. If the mother said you can come and see him, she would start going to see him right now to this day. By the way the way her eyes and her head moved when she was talking about that, if she could have a relationship with him right now, she would. She definitely would. And everybody deserves love. Can't say who people get love from. I just don't see it personally. Not for me. I got all kind of issues when it comes to stuff like that. Oh, and thank you, Ernest. Me and Angelina had talked about this too. Yes, Perlman. I think she definitely infatuated with him, if not in love. But yeah, what if it was a man that did this to a mentally disabled woman? His ass would be under the jail, and everybody would be against that man. It wouldn't matter if the man was a black man towards a white girl, a black man towards a black girl, a white man towards a black girl, a white man towards a white girl. It would not matter what the situation was. They could have let the facilitated communication information be a part of the trial, and his ass still would have been found guilty. That's just the world we live in. Because yes, and thank you for correcting that. Um, if it was a man, that's your ass. You ain't got no. There ain't no ways around it. It doesn't work at all. I literally saw cases in the military where a man tried to say that he was being not sexually assaulted. What is it? What was the thing when you make a person feel uncomfortable sexually, but sexual harassment? I saw men in the Marine Corps claim sexual harassment and relatively got laughed at by the command.
also did the brother type of brother act assembly they use for he use protection.
Yeah, the brother did ask that they use protection. Yeah, that was the brother. That's a baby.
I don't know what it was. I just saw a movie.
Flick it.
I
It's a
don't see it.
baby. Don't kill it. That's a praying mantis.
Oh.
Don't
I
kill
see
it.
you looking at me.
They help keep bugs away. But yeah, literally saw. Yeah, the brother did ask did they use protection, when they had sex, because the brother's first instinct probably was
He got some.
he got some.
Then he got mad.
Then he
'cause
got mad
some.
because no, then he got mad because the mama got mad.
He wanted that, and his brother got. That's why he's mad.
I wouldn't be surprised if the brother was looking at Anna, because let's be real, Anna didn't have the flat body. Anna had a nice curvy body. The brother probably had been looking at Anna this whole time like stuff feel kind of sexy a little bit there.
Not the dust of it.
Mm-hmm. He's gonna beat the cobwebs out of it. And she already liked black men, so the brother was probably looking at Anna anyway and felt a little jealous. But yeah, anyway, back to the other part. If it was a man, it would definitely have been a wholly different story. 99.9% of the people will feel like he is wrong and there's no way around it. And that's just the world we live in. That that's it's not is it fair? No. But that's what it is. Um, it's messed up because what was it? I think there was a case where a man claimed that he was it was a case where a man claimed that he was raped. But the judge said that he could not have been raped because he got an erection. And it was a male judge. And it was a California case. This was like in the 90s. And the thing about it is, look, that thing don't listen to the situation around it. It listens to whatever's happening to it. All right? Especially when you're younger. It listens to whatever happens to it. I've heard of men claiming date rape, that they were drugged, and they like, no, 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 you couldn't have been, you know. So it's hey voiceover, hey Stephanie. So it is unfair that if it was a man, it would have been totally different. Netflix probably wouldn't even made a documentary about it, and he would have got 12 years was the max, but they probably would have been like, we ain't running it concurrently though. You're gonna do 24. So we know that that's how that just works, you know. But because it was a woman towards a man, you know, yes, you've missed an hour, Stephanie, and we're going to be off here in a minute because we got some folks we're going to meet. Go hang out with some party people at the beach. But yeah, it's an interesting story. I would, if you can emotionally handle it, I would suggest you watch it again. I know Angelina's not.
I'm just. I'm a detailed person.
You know, it's but I don't know. What are you guys' final thoughts on it? What are you guys' final thoughts on it? While you're contemplating your final thoughts, mine still remain the same. Other than D Man, everybody did something right. Everybody did something wrong. The brother is a mama's boy and just really went with whatever his mama was going to do. The mother was a controlling woman who feared abandonment, and then them having sex was just uh, the straw that broke the camel back for her. Anna was completely wrong in having a relationship with her student. That's just I don't care how she felt. I do think that facilitated communication can work for some people, and it should be further explored. I'm glad that it is being further explored. I hate that this situation probably hurt that movement, but what I really would like for people to be able to look at this and raise their conscious thoughts on how things and be able to start seeing things how they are and not how you feel, because in the words of the great wisdom, fuck your feelings. You know, when it comes to your actions, fuck your feelings. Let's see. Texas Goddess said, I was sexually harassed by a woman at the workplace, and I had several pieces of documentation. She wasn't even moved to another workplace. Had it been a man, he would have lost his job. He sure would have. And and especially that can go all kind of ways like that. Uh, Ernest said his final thought is that Anna was wrong, and he still feel that D-Man was taking advantage of. Okay. You're not cooled off a little bit, but it's still hot. Gatorade, I want some sponsorship for me drinking this beverage on your show. Oh man. While I'm waiting for some other people final thoughts, if anybody else is going to type a final thought, I like to give you some thought processing updates as we close out. Um, some of y'all gonna get mad, but guess what? You're gonna be all right. I will still continue to do all the videos that I've been previously doing. I will still do the lives that we have been previously doing. Uh, for the people who are members on YouTube and have subscriptions on Facebook. And there's a difference between members and subscriptions. And the membership on YouTube is the gold membership or master's membership. I'm gonna see if I can just get rid of the other two and just have that one because I don't even like having the other ones. I am going to start doing some more long form videos. Only about the first 3 to 5 minutes will be played on regular visibility. The rest of it will be just for my members. It's a way of saying thank you for financially supporting the channel. I know you're giving up that $5 a month, and I know that $5 a month is breaking your bank, and it's a struggle for you. And but I appreciate it, and so one of the ways I'm going to make that give you more value for supporting the channel financially is to do long form videos that go deep into a subject matter, and the entirety of the video will only be visible to people who are subscription holders on Facebook and Gold Master members on YouTube. So that's going to start this upcoming week. There's a whole series that I plan on doing. That series is going to be the first series that I'm going to do would deal with creation myths from multiple different people. Um, so once a week, I'll do a video, a long form video that'll go towards that. Uh, so look for that one. But definitely turn on your notifications because I do notice that only a few people are watching the videos on the subscription and membership. So maybe y'all need to turn on your notification for those of you who are already subscription holders and members. But look for that later on this week. Uh, I'm going to take this channel out of the hobby level for me. See, right now, everything you guys been getting from me, it's been me at a hobby level. I'm going to start doing this channel at a business level. So you're going to see a lot more things happening, a lot more lives, a lot more videos, a lot more in-depth things. I'm gonna make a phone call today or tomorrow, get some merch, and what else we doing? Oh, I'm actually gonna dedicate time to finish these books. So we're gonna start doing it. I'm gonna change from being the semi-retired guy because I was enjoying this semi-retired life, y'all. I ain't gonna lie to you. So we're gonna go from being a hobby to a business. Do you have any books that you would recommend? I can see it better when it's over here. Do you have any books that you would recommend reading related to history, spirituality, and how the Bible was written? And you should read 101 Myths of the Bible by Greenberg. And I can't recommend many books because over the last 10 years, 10, 20, 10 15 years, I haven't read many books. Most of the time, what I read are PhD papers, peer reviews, uh, archaeology papers is what I read most of the time. The only books that I've read over the last 10 years is the Tao over and over and over and over again, the Kabbalion over and over again, the Hermeticum, the Corpus Hermeticum over and over again. So I've reread pretty much those three books over and over. Um, I've read I read corrections to the Lost Book of Enki and the Chronicles, Earth Chronicles. I've read corrections over the last few years from that one. because a lot of his information has been corrected since we know more about the language. The cuneiform language has been broken down even further. So I've read a lot of the corrections from that, which I expected. I knew he wouldn't. That's just how things work. Final thought from Dwayne: take your head out of the Bible and get a life. Her son was gaining a life. Yeah, her religious convictions interfere with her ability to allow her son to have a life. I agree with you on that one 100%. Kitty, the final thought: the cover photo of the documentary is confused. I'm not gonna lie to you. So when it first popped up on Netflix, and it was and you know how they do number one, trending, and it's number one, two, three, four. That was trending number one, which is what made us look at it. I was like, oh, what's trending number one? Because we were just out here and gonna watch something. We saw that, and when I looked at it, I was like, I don't want to watch a documentary about two dudes because that's not interesting. So what if two dudes want to be with each other? I don't care. That's what's interesting about that. Um, but then yeah, so that cover for that's the actual Netflix. What the Netflix have on there as the cover, because I couldn't tell at first, but I was just like, yeah, that's not, and it was really just a not interesting thing. It was thought process I had, but I agree. The cover of it was kind of misleading unless you read about it, read up on it. But yeah, so those are the things that are going to be happening here starting this week. I'm going to go into more of a business mode when it comes to this channel. It's been a fun hobby. Uh, that's why I laugh when people act like, some of the detractors are like, I can't, for a person to spend their entire life, focused on this. I'm like, I do not spend my entire life focused on this. Uh, I spend most of my life relaxing and doing other things that I enjoy doing. This is not that thing, but we're gonna do it business level. We're gonna take it to the business level. But if that's all the final thoughts, we're gonna get out of here and go and hang out with these Kenyans from the rugby tournament that we was at earlier today. Go get some beach time in. The heat index now went down enough for us to go to the beach. It was too damn hot earlier. So I appreciate you guys. I will definitely see you on Tuesday. Tuesday with What's Wrong with the Bible. We are still in Deuteronomy. I think we're at. Why am I asking you? You don't know. I mean, you know why I'm looking at you like that, huh? Oh, so Tuesday. Okay, yes, that's true. So Tuesday is going to be the earlier day. It won't be at it. So we'll be doing Deuteronomy 31 and 32. I had to go look real quick. We'll be doing Deuteronomy 31 and 32. Tuesday's live is going to be probably around 3 o'clock. What time is all this stuff? That'll be around 6, 7. So probably around 3 o'clock. Yeah. So Tuesday it'll be around 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Uh, for What's Wrong with the Bible, Deuteronomy chapter 31 and 32. We have some nighttime birthday activities, so can't be at night. So I look forward to seeing you guys Tuesday for that conversation. What do we need to do on YT to have total access? So on YouTube, you click on membership. Right now, choose the master membership. I'm gonna get rid of the apprentice and whatever the other one was. I think adept, and I just want to have that one. I don't want to be like, oh, for the apprentice you get this, and for the master you get that, and one damn membership, and it's like $5, somewhere around in there. So just sign up for that. Just click on membership, do the master membership. That's it. And then those long form videos will be just for those people. The very, like I said, a 3 to 5 minute version of it will be on everybody. That's just marketing. And then the rest of it will be for the members and subscription holders. I should be putting that first video out no later than Friday, Thursday or Friday. Um, this first one is going to be creation stories, the creation myth based on the Kemetic. But I'm gonna do the Kemetic, the Greek, the Babylonians, the Sumerians, the different Chinese ones, because you got different stories based on which group you're talking about. Polynesians, um, Aztecs, Mayans, Incans. So this is going to be a series that goes over probably a good 2 months of different people. I think that's one of the very important things of deconstructing is it was one of those important things of deconstruction for me was to go back and research. So I got to reawaken all the research I did 30 years ago. Uh, but it was very important for me to understand how everybody had these creation stories and how their creation stories developed and the differences and that sort of thing, you know, which helped me to recognize that the Genesis story was just another creation story by another group of people, you know. So that's what we're gonna be doing first as a series. And knowing me, I'll probably throw in some other long form videos in there in between as well. My YouTube page, yeah, it should be Deconstructing Christianity is my YouTube page. Uh, but you can also look it up with Coach Renz 33 or Lorenzo Reed, LaRenzoReid. But you can also do the subscription on Facebook. So you're a subscriber on Facebook, and then there's subscription on Facebook. So you can also do it as a subscription on Facebook as well. So either one, Facebook or YouTube. So with that, I'm out. Got to go hit this beach. Got to let this semi-dad body flourish in the water. So y'all have a great day. And always remember, you got to free yourself to be yourself because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations. Yeah, you can do it on Facebook.